Welcome to another episode of Charles Talk 4630. I'm Stacey Mallory, alongside my co-host and friend, Garrett Elsasser. If this is your first time here, we welcome you, and we ask that you follow us by pressing on the subscribe button. It is free. There is no paid subscription. This way, you'll be notified whenever we go on live or release the latest content. You can also follow us on Twitter or X, whatever name you prefer to use. And last but not least, you can follow and listen to us while on the road, at work, or on your lunch break on Spotify, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, Deezer, and TuneIn Radio. And you can also follow myself, Stacey Mallory, on X at retiredin26997, and also follow Garrett Elsasser at gman7887. Again, thank you for joining us here live on X and YouTube or wherever you're tuning in from. Garrett, how you doing?
Oh, hanging in there. Rookie mini camp started. Excited about that. You know, work. Deployment's crazy. I've been crap for sleep the last few nights, but now I'm amped up for this. So
right. It's good to be back, man.
Yeah. How was your vacation? I know you went down to Florida. Was it?
Yes, I was in Tampa, and I spent some time in Tampa and in Orlando the last couple of days.
Nice.
Really nice. I
vacation?
love the weather, man. It was nice. 97 degrees every day, man. I live here in Jersey, and I'm getting tired of the winter and the cold weather and the snow.
Yeah.
And so my wife have another 3 years to work, and after she's done and retire, man, I'm looking to move to a warm climate area, and I'm starting to like Florida because I'm out there every couple of months to visit my granddaughter.
I'm just saying, I live in Florida too. We could do in-person podcasts. It'd be super.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
I don't live in Florida now, but in a couple months. What's that?
What part of Florida, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, Jacksonville. So northeast.
How close is that to Tampa? Because I'm in Tampa.
About 3 hours. It's about 3 hours.
Okay.
There's actually a pretty good Charger fan group down in Tampa. That's where they're based out of. So that'd be a lot of fun. I think I would not be opposed to you moving down to Tampa.
Yes. Okay. That sounds like a plan though, but we'll see. But anyway, let's jump right into this.
I got something to talk about though. I know you had a few tidbits on Rashee Rice you wanted to talk about. I know we usually Charger stuff, but this Rashee Rice stuff has got you thinking.
Yeah, well, while I was in Florida, I met a couple of guys, and when you go out to the bars, we sitting down talking, we start sharing ideas and sharing, who our teams, and a conversation came up about Rashee Rice, and I gave my personal opinion how I felt about it, and some of the guys got kind of hot because they felt like you're not supportive of the young guys. They make mistakes, but they're very young. And I usually don't talk about people's personal situation off the field, but it became a really heated debate that we had, and everything turned out fine. We were cool, but I wanted to share our thinking about it and said, I wonder how many people out there have had some of them same conversations, and some probably disagree with me saying, hey, you should be supporting these young guys. So here's the reason why I had my opinion. It really doesn't bother me. These guys get what they deserve. And I'm going to go back to like Chris Olave. All right. You remember Chris Olave was arrested in November 30th of last year for reckless driving. He was accused of driving 70 mile per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. The case is still not resolved. You had Von Miller, who was charged with domestic violence in November last year. He was accused of assaulting a pregnant mother of his children near Dallas, pulling out her hair and bruising her neck. Like Chris Olave's case, it hasn't been resolved yet. And then the one we were talking about was Rashee Rice. He was issued a warrant for his arrest because he was involved in a high-speed car crash with his Lamborghini that led to multiple charges, including aggravated assault in Dallas on March 30th. 4 people was injured in the accident, and the case is still not been resolved yet. So here's the issue that I had. And Garrett, I told you I worked on the job, right?
Yeah.
And in the NFL, these guys get in a lot of trouble, and I know some of them are young, but they get in trouble, and you did know that when they get suspended for drugs or anything in their system that's banned by the NFL, they normally have 4 infractions before they actually suspended. All right, so they give opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. As long as they're good and they're talented, they continue to get breaks. Well, on the job, there was a 0 tolerance policy. If I had 24 years and 6 months in and had 6 months left to go to retire with a full pension and benefits, if I fail a test, anything that's banned by the state, I lose everything. I lose my pension. I lose and I've seen guys do it where they go home and have to tell their wife, we got to move, can't pay this mortgage no more. I was doing some cocaine or whatever the case was. It came up in my urine and I was fired. So we don't get no breaks. You know what I mean? So at a young age, even I was at a young age when I started, I had to be disciplined and understand that what I have at home, my family, my children, my home, don't give that up for making a stupid mistake by, listen, they say, look, you can't do this. These are things you can't do, and you sign off on it. But if you do them, you lose everything. So how can I feel sorry for guys in the NFL when the minimum salary they get, I'll probably never make that in my lifetime? I can't feel sorry for these guys as being told, we're going to make you millionaires, and all you have to do, stay out of trouble with the law. Don't do drugs and that things of that nature. Don't get caught up in anything with regards to law enforcement, and you can have a great career and retire. So I can't feel sorry for those guys.
Yeah, my thing, I don't know. So we've talked about this. Like even when we were talking about Malik Neighbors and how he had that charge on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, carrying a gun around there. And, I think when you say one mistake, right, I don't think one mistake defines a man at all, or woman, or person for that matter. But I think that multiple, and now we're talking with Rashee Rice, there's multiple things now. You had the speeding, the wreck, you had him going back into the nightclub to punch that photographer, and now it's coming out that before the draft, he shot bullets into another person's car.
Yeah, I read that. With
a dispute over a girl. And so I just think that, it's like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing. And I don't have any sympathy for that, because when you do have it all laid out in front of you, you should be able to have that awareness to take advantage of the blessings bestowed upon you. These people are living a dream that people work hard and tirelessly and don't even make it that far. And now I will say this, everything, maybe right his wrongs. Maybe this is just a learning moment for him in his life. And he's hitting that moment a little earlier on than most people do. But again, there's no sympathy from me to him. I just hope that he can fix it and he can rectify everything.
Yeah.
Luckily, no one was severely hurt, right?
Right.
Like in all these situations. Like, he was shooting bullets into a car. He was speeding. Like, there's no fatalities in any of this.
Is that confirmed to be true, or is it alleged? Like, right? Because I don't want to say it if it's not been confirmed as being a true fact.
Yeah, no, they all opened up lawsuits against him. They've had injuries, but no one passed away. There is no death. If there was a death, it would be a lot worse. It would be on news everywhere. It'd be crazy.
Yeah. Now, I believe in second chances, Garrett. Listen, if it wasn't for second chances, a lot of us wouldn't be where we are right now. So I do believe in second chances, and I do believe that one mistake doesn't define who you are. But again, I've known guys that I work with, man, that been on a job that could have retired 6 years prior with 31, 32 years in. In law enforcement, you make one mistake, that's it. You don't get a second or third or fourth chance. If you can't work as a law enforcement officer and been charged with a crime, you can't. If you do, you get caught up in domestic violence, you're done. So for me, if I could be disciplined enough to do that, and I don't have a problem with my salary, making $90,000 to finish with. If I don't have a problem with sacrificing a lot of different things that I cannot do that other people can do, you mean to tell me if I could do that making $90,000, if I was in NFL getting a $20 million contract that I couldn't do it? Sure, I could. So to me, it's no excuse for me. I don't feel bad for these guys, but I hope they get their life back on track, and glad that nobody was seriously injured. And that's my take on it. But some of the guys that I talked to, I told them about the show, they came on, they subscribed. So they knew I was going to mention it, and they did. At the end, they understood and said, well, you know what? Now that you put it that way, from a law enforcement perspective, it's stupid to do it, because why would you give up your whole career?
As someone who's 16 years active duty, we got the same thing on our side. Like, you mess up and all that's for naught. Your retirement's out the window, all your benefits are out the window, everything you did is gone. And we know that. And these athletes know that. Right. So there's no difference in standard here. It's just that money can get you out of things sometimes. And when you're regulated by the government, you don't really get to avoid that.
No, you don't. So,
but yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so look, Marquise Valdez, Scantling, and Bud Dupree visit the Chargers this week.
that was interesting to me because MVS visited, and I believe it was like 2 or 3 days after. Then they signed DJ Chark after he visited a couple weeks before that.
Yeah.
And so everyone was thinking 2 wide receivers. Yeah. And then as I was diving into these two, MVS and DJ Chark are almost the same. They're the same build. They run the same 40 times. So, I mean, they're both field stretchers. MVS is just a little bit older than DJ Chark. But, I mean, DJ ran a 4.37 and MVS ran a 4.34. So it's like you got the same receiver. So I don't think that MVS is possibly getting signed. I think that it was an either or situation in case Chark signed somewhere else.
I like what Harbaugh is really doing, man. And, you know, I know a lot of people I follow on social media. A lot of people was upset, you know, why is he bringing him in? Currently, it's 11 on the roster right now. We know
maybe 12. You're not far. Plus or minus 1. We'll say that 11 plus or minus 1.
Right. And Harbaugh's thing is he's creating healthy competition, and he's setting the tone for what he's been saying since he's been there from day one. You're going to come in, nobody's job is safe. You're going to bust your tail in camp, and whoever is worthy to be on the roster is going to be on the roster. And we're going to see a situation where a couple of guys that's probably very popular that we like, that we want to be on the team is going to go because you can't keep that many receivers. But I like what he's doing.
I think that the competition that he's building in that room, instead of just accepting, hey, this is what we got, we're going to try and roll with it and hope my system works, he's really giving everyone a shot to prove themselves.
Right.
I mean, Quentin Johnson going into year 2, he's got to have a bounce back year. Can Joshua Palmer carry the load as a wide receiver 1? He's shown flashes, but not really consistent. Plus injuries have hampered him. Right. And you got the rest of the depth chart coming in there, and then our new rookies. So it's like the possibilities are. I don't even know what it could be for the depth chart, how it's going to stack out. Is Ladd McConkey going to take wide receiver 1 and Palmer's number 2? We don't know.
We don't know.
You know, and then also there's Bud Dupree, right?
Yeah.
So. The depth piece of Bud Dupree being edge 4, I think, would be exciting. He had 6.5 sacks last year in Atlanta. 31 years old, a little bit longer in the tooth, if you will. But I think that him challenging Chris Rump for that edge 4 spot would, one, boost, light a fire into Rump's spot, because he kind of just had like a given edge 4 spot to him the past couple of years.
Right.
No one's really challenged him. Bud Dupree would instantly come in and push for that 4 spot.
Yeah, I like it. I like Bud Dupree a lot. If he was coming in to be a starter, maybe I would have an issue with that. But you already have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Then you have Tui Tuipulotu. And so with him coming in as a guy that's backing up those 3 and to be a good rotational piece, I like that. I do. I really like that. And Chris Rump has been kind of disappointing. He was one of those guys that Tom Telesco always reached. There were a lot of other really good, productive guys that they could have took, but you took Rump, and he haven't developed into the pass rusher that we all hoped he would be as of yet. But if they do sign Bud Dupree, that's going to light a fire under Chris Rump, because these guys know Jim Harbaugh is creating an atmosphere where no one is going to be comfortable, because anybody could lose their job. He knows the makeup and the mentality of the guys that he wants. He wants tough, gritty guys. And he's going to see, with this competition, you guys going to be grinding it out every day. And it's going to be interesting to see how this roster pan out.
Yeah, I think that he's breeding that. He came in here, and one of the first moves him and Joe Ortiz made was sending Keenan Allen packing in a trade, which I think stunned everybody. We were so excited for this regime change. Yeah. And then when the regime changed, we were like, oh, whoa, hold on. This is too far. But as time has settled, we see the vision now. We see what they're doing. They're going to make this their own. They're not going to take pieces, what we had in the past, and try to apply it to what they have now and what they foresee, because that won't work. When you want to completely reshape something, you have to start from ground zero. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I was I knew, because I had been talking a couple of months on the show about it, but a part of you in your gut, you would like to have one of those guys like Malik Neighbors or one of those guys. But I had a feeling, and we have been talking about it, and I've been talking about it. Let me tell you, give a shout out to Chargers Unleashed. I was watching them a few days ago when I was in Florida, and Sean Merriman was on there. And I love Sean Merriman. Shout out to Sean Merriman.
He's so much fun.
I met him in person too in 2007. Took pictures with him and everything.
Okay.
So, but Sean was tweeting out that he was confused and he didn't like the alt pick when it first happened. But when he was on Chargers Unleashed, you know, he came around to it and understand what Harbaugh is doing. And I'm gonna pat myself on the back a little bit because I've been going at it with a few people who in the chat room on the show, they can go there. I don't delete any of the comments. And they were adamant about, listen, I hear what you're saying, but how could you not get Malik Neighbors or Roma Dunce with the 5th pick if he's still available? But my whole thinking, and I don't claim to know more than Sean Merriman. Of course I don't. You know, Sean Merriman probably forgot more football than I'll ever know. You know, so I'm not claiming to know more than him, but there's a lot of great coaches, offensive assistant coaches, defensive coordinators, offense coordinators that never played football in their life. But that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to be able to observe a player and be able to see when there's talent there after evaluating a player or not. So that's what I was doing. And Harbaugh's track record and what he's done, his body of work, dictated what he was going to do and how he was going to draft. And I constantly said it. If he went with a receiver, I wouldn't have been upset with it, but it would have actually went against everything that he believed in.
I think that it was funny. Everyone kept bringing up, well, when he was with the Niners, they never drafted a lineman in the first round. It's like he inherited a great O-line. Joe Staley was there at left tackle. They did not need to draft a line at all.
Right.
If they had a strength before Harbaugh got there, it was their O-line, and that was it. They just had nothing else.
And also with Trent Baalke, he was the general manager, and him and Harbaugh clashed a lot because Harbaugh wanted more control. Who knows if he really wanted a lineman, but they weren't aligned together, and eventually it led to him leaving. But he put his mark on that team before he left, though.
Exactly. And speaking of making marks on teams, let's talk about these rookies. We got rookie minicamp that started off, right?
Right.
Who are you excited to see? I know we kind of did the draft, but now who are we focusing on where we're like, okay, we got our draft picks, but who am I excited? Who are you excited to see? Let's hear it.
Well, on the offensive side of the ball, I'll tell you, I like rookie Kamani Vidal. Kamani gives the Chargers more depth in the running back room that includes Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobson, along with Isaiah Spillane and Elijah Dotson. Kamani is a strong player with the versatility to play in different schemes and styles. He plays with great vision and agility when getting upfield. I love how he finished runs while lowering his shoulder and falling forward for extra yards. One guy that I do like a lot on the defensive side, and that is Justin Boykin. When I look at last year's defensive tackle struggling stop the run or any kind of push up the middle was an understatement. I thought we would have been so much better with Sebastian Joseph Day, Nick Williams, and Austin Johnson's on that line. I go back and forth trying to figure out how much of it was the players that didn't fit the scheme, and how much of it was just awful coaching. I tend to think it was a little bit of both. But when I look at free agent Poona Ford, he's still young at 28 years old. I was thrown off a bit by his height, which he is shorter than I thought at just 5'11", but he is 311 pounds. And the most important thing is he moves the pocket and gets pressure. He also had 8.5 career sacks. With a better coaching staff in place, he should be a good rotational piece. But the rookie on the defensive side I'm really excited to see is former Alabama defensive tackle Justin Boykin. The Chargers are thin in the middle of the defensive line with Poona Ford and Otito Agbanani listed as the starters as of right now. But Joyce Boykin has a huge upside and can push for extended playing time, filling a noticeable hole on this defensive line. He's 6'4", 297 pounds. He was a 2023 first team All-SEC selection after racking up 63 tackles, 11.5 tackles for a loss, and 7.5 sacks in 14 games. I love his confidence when asked, where is he most comfortable playing at on the line? And he said, it doesn't matter. I can line up anywhere on the defensive front. It's been a long time since we had a dominant defensive tackle, but I got a feeling that we may have something special here, but only time will tell.
Whew. All right. I'm very excited for Kamani. I think he's going to be he might surprise some people, and he might move into that RB2 and not even, I wouldn't be surprised if he's RB1 when the season starts, honestly. We'll see. I know Gus Edwards is going to get his run. I just think that he will show a lot. Maybe not by week 1. maybe I can say by the end of the season, maybe he's RB1, and that's, injuries notwithstanding, whatever. I just think he's very durable with his build, and I think that he just has that flash of talent that he could easily move up that depth chart, especially if J.K. Dobbins doesn't pan out. He can be an RB2, but it would not shock me if he's RB1 by the end of the season. And then for Justin Eboigbe, everything you said was on point. I just think that having a solid anchor on that defensive line is going to be huge, especially the fact that he can play all over it. So that's fantastic. But for me, I didn't do offense and defense. I'm sold out. I am committed. I'm getting a jersey. It's happening. Brendan Rice, ladies and gentlemen. That is my guy. As you know, you saw from my mock drafts. I wanted him. I got him. Yeah. It's great. I don't know if you saw his presser yesterday.
Oh, I did.
Yesterday. Yes. And do you just not see the light in his soul, the way he loves this game? And now the chip on his shoulder is going to be enormous.
Guys, I prayed to go to a team that really wanted me, and God felt as though that the Los Angeles Chargers wanted me, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. I just wanted to get my foot in the door. I wanted to be around a good group of people. I wanted to be in a room that I could go ahead and prove myself in. The same thing I've been doing all my life since Colorado to USC until now. My work ethic will separate myself. There's a lot of great guys in the room. We got a lot of different body types, different type of games. But if I can go ahead and do the little things each day in and day out, go ahead and prove myself, go ahead and know my playbook like the back of my hand, and then also be attentive and do the extra little things, I think I will continue to separate myself within this room. Man, I'm getting really good luck. I feel like my dad, honestly. I feel like my dad, like people wanting to say, are you sad? Are you mad? Guys, I'm in the best position possible to go ahead and make my mark on and make my own legacy. I went from Caleb Williams to Justin Herbert, and I'm in a room that's going to allow me to compete day in and day out. Everything's upon me. So if you guys don't see me coming fall, that's on me. And if you guys see me out there, then I put in the necessary work to put my best foot in the door and go out there and produce.
It was like talking to your dad after you got drafted, and was there any advice he gave you just coming into mini camp and off-season workouts in a couple of weeks?
My dad was hot. Yeah, my dad was hot. First words he said was, time to go to work. And he said, I will be with you every step of the way. He said that I'm going to be involved within all your workouts from now on. And we got a lot of people to prove wrong, a lot of teams to go ahead and just, man, it's going to be one hell of a story. That's all I'm going to say.
Like this man is he's committed to it, because he said, it's accountability for him. Yes. He's saying, if you don't see me coming in fall, that's on me. If you guys see me out there, it's because I put in the work. He knows that it's on him. He's got this opportunity laid out in front of him. And we've talked a lot about him. So listeners, watchers, if you're doing this, go to our past podcasts. With his size, he's so physical, and I mentioned this before too. He reminds me a lot of Anquan Boldin. He's not the fastest guy. He can stretch the field. His top end speed is great. It just takes a while to get there. Yeah. But he's tough. He's physical. He loves that contested catch. Yes. I think he's just going to be fantastic. He compares his game to like Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Ridley. But I honestly, I just see a lot of Anquan Boldin in him, and I think he's going to be that guy who isn't scared to do the dirty work, and then after the catch, he's going to be fierce.
I mean, well, if he's going to be anything near what Anquan Boldin has been for the 49ers, we definitely have a steal at round 7 for real.
Yeah,
I would like that a lot. Yeah, he's a guy, man, that his mental makeup, man, you can see it, and it would be shocking if he didn't make the team. He knows where he was picked at in the 7th round. So I believe that he got a mindset that he's going to come in and he's going to work hard. He's going to soak up like a sponge everything that they're teaching him. And I think I'll be shocked if he don't make it. I'm going to feel bad for a couple of these guys because actually I like all the receivers on this roster. I'm going to be totally honest with you, but it's just not enough room for everybody. So we're going to lose at least probably 2 really good receivers that we like. And, someone going to end up getting real lucky getting 2 of these guys. But I would like to have Brendan Rice. I do like him. How could you not like him when you look at the footage of what he did when he was with USC? They say he's not fast, but I couldn't tell when I look at the film.
So, interesting stat. 7 of his 12 TDs last year were on vertical routes, which was tied for the 6th most in the FBS. So he stretches the field. He can get the long ball. Yeah. He doesn't have that speed, but he's got football speed. He doesn't have that 40 speed.
Right.
So
that
he's
don't
exciting.
mean he's not football fast on the field.
Exactly. You put the pads on, you got to get by coverage. It's a different kind of level there.
I remember when Ray Lewis was drafted. Ray Lewis ran the slowest 40 speed of any linebacker at the combine, but on the field, you couldn't tell. On the field, sideline to sideline, he was better than anybody else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even again, Anquan Bolden, he ran like a 4.6, 4.7. I should have that, but it was a slow 40, and his stock dropped because he was killer at FSU. He was a killer, and he dropped because of a slow 40, and look what he did. So I think if this guy can make the 53-man roster, we're going to see why.
So we have a new segment that we're going to have where we've adopted every week. It's going to be a segment that Garrett covers, and it's going to be called the Garrett's Conundrum. And this is the first one, and I can't wait to see what Garrett has come up with for this week. So, Garrett.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody listening, watching, been in my thoughts recently, been in my feelings. There's been a lot of stuff, a lot of questions. You know, we have a new regime, don't we? We have new head coach and defensive coordinator. Still kept Ryan Ficken, thank God. But the question that keeps coming to my mind, keeps me up at night, you know? Do I want to see this offense or this defense take the leap next year? And now we don't have anything to compare this off of, right? In terms of new coach, new GM, the whole new draft class. But in terms of being a top 10 unit, what do we want to see? Do we want to see the defense take off or the offense? Now, before I explain my answer, because I do have one, I want to go back to 2010. This is a year where the Chargers were number 1 in offense and number 1 in defense. And we ended up losing 5 of our first 7 games due to special teams. Now, we all know that this is not going to be an issue this time because we have Ryan Ficken. The thing for me is that you obviously need both, but which one stands out more as our team is currently constructed? And I want to say it's defense. The whole mantra since Harbaugh got here was, let's take pressure off Justin Herbert. Let's run the ball, mistake-free football, get 5 or 6 yards. Let's not do 2nd and 10. Let's do 2nd and 4. That's a lot easier. You know what else takes pressure off Justin Herbert? Having a solid defense. In those close games, back to that 2010 season, those first 5 or the 5 games that they lost were by 1 possession. As Charger fans, we know that we have perfected losing close games. The Jaguars-Chargers playoff game, that comeback, having a defense would prevent all of this. Anytime it's a close game and we need to stop, it doesn't have to go on the offense to go down and score or run out the clock. The defense can get that stop. Those 4th down conversions, those go away. The Miami Dolphins game, we couldn't stop a nosebleed. There were so many times last year where if our defense just made 1 stop, we'd probably have 5, 6 more wins. Now we wouldn't have Joe Alt now, but you see my point. Defense wins championships. Age-old expression. It's not going away. The league is going to shift. It's a passing offense, passing league. Everyone loves points. But if you can stop these points, and we all know that the refs, when the playoffs start, those flags stay in their pockets. Niners fans know this. Against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, not one holding call. So my point and my end comment here is that when you're going into this season, we're going to put this conundrum to rest. We obviously want to see the offense. That offense is going to produce because the defense puts them in that position to do so. Thank you for listening.
That was nice, Garrett. It was.
Is that good?
That was good. That was good. I like that. You know, I'm be looking forward to it every week. If I could piggyback off what you're saying,
of course you can.
You're spot on with what you were saying. Here's one thing that I'll leave Charger fans with. I know that everybody wanted the high-powered offense, and like you said, you know, we done went through the era of Phillip Rivers and Dan Fouts. We've always been able to put a lot of points on the board. Yeah. But go back to the Patriots. The year that they played the Giants in the Super Bowl, they were undefeated all the way up until that Super Bowl. And that year, you had Randy Moss and Dante Stallworth and all those guys, and they set all kind. I think he threw 55 touchdown passes.
Yeah, it was insane.
You know, right? But they lost that that Super Bowl to the Giants because the Giants had the best front seven in football that year. I think Justin Tuck, O.C. Umenyiora, Michael Strahan, like those guys were getting after it. So Brady didn't have, after that game, he developed a new type of thing offensively where he got rid of the ball every 2 seconds. But that came from that game where he wanted to just drop back and just go deep and blow people away. And Giants didn't allow it. They had that pass rush. And then go back to when they lost to the Eagles. High-powered offense. Brady threw over 500 yards in that Super Bowl and 4 touchdowns, but they still lost to the Eagles. Because you know what? Defense and running game still win championships. And when those New England Patriots was winning those Super Bowls, they had the Mike Vrabels and the Teddy Bruschi's on that team. Asante Samuel, Rodney Harrison, Vince Wilfork, Mike Vrabel. They had defense. They were able to stop the run, win in the trenches. And that's how they won those Super Bowls. They didn't win by airing anybody out. So I think that we're going to have a much better season, even on the offensive side, than people even think.
That's going to come anyway. I think that's going to come as a product of our defense. Now, realistically, do we see our offense take that next step? Probably, because a lot of the offensive pieces, minus Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, but I think that having Herbert there, it's continuity. I think the offense is going to be the offense, which is why I think the defense taking that next step is so crucial. Right. And one key point is in 2007, when we went to the AFC Championship game against the Patriots, the Chargers defense, top 5.
Yep.
So, I'm just saying, like, it's a complete system. We all understand that there's 3 phases to the game. I understand that.
Right.
But if you have a really, really good defense, it's going to take a lot of bad offense, which we don't have, to not succeed.
That was good. I like that Garrett's Conundrum. I'll be looking forward to those. I'm sure other people are looking forward to it as well. Well, that ends another segment. Unless you want to close us out with something before
the usual. You're going to echo what I say. I'll echo what you say. I thank everybody for watching. You don't know how much it means to us. This Garrett's Conundrum thing is going to be wild. If feel free to hit me up. Yeah, I'm open to criticism. We're not perfect over here. So if you guys have any suggestions, anything you want to see, anything you want to talk about, go ahead, DM either of us, tweet us, X us, whatever you want to call it. And we'll get back to you.
Well, that ends our segment today of Chargers Talk 4630. We thank you so much for joining us today. And if you like the content here and you want to continue to support our community, please don't forget to follow us by clicking on the subscribe button. It is not a paid subscription. It is free. You can also follow and listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, Deezer, and TuneIn Radio. And you also can follow myself, Stacey Mallory, on X at retiredin26997, and also follow Garrett Alsasser at gman7887. And also, don't forget to share this podcast with someone who may not have tuned into us yet. And as always, we appreciate you as well as your support. Until then, be safe, be well, enjoy the rest of your day. Bolt up and boat gang or don't bang. We'll see you next week.
Bolt up, baby.
That's right. See you later, Garrett.
Have a good one, Stacey.
All right, you too.